Steve, thank you for being here today for an interview. Please just tell us a little bit about your involvement with Healing Transitions and how long you've been involved, what inspired you to get here involved with this organization, and etc.
Okay. So I've been, I guess, involved in some fashion for probably close to 20 years. I initially started getting involved at the board level and exec levels and helping out with business plans and strategic plans and some of the things that I brought from back when I was in the working world. As time has gone by, I've been working more one-on-one and in some of the group settings, whether that's sponsoring people or leading classes or life skills. Helped out with Ready to Rent and mock interviews and things like that. So I guess in short, wherever I can help somebody,
Right.
I've got some background that might help.
Awesome. What does this role mean to you, and like what motivates you to continue like giving your time and energy?
Probably seeing the light come on, right? You know, it's when I first came around, I was feeling uncomfortable, but that's about me, not anybody else.
Right.
But as time goes on, and I was willing and able to sit down and talk with people that are angry and scared and tossed out from their families and really struggling, and to watch for those that stay and work the program, to see them become kind, wonderful, helping human beings, and see them get excited about family visits, and for those that silver chip, to stand up there and talk about what the experience has meant to them, and being excited about having a job and paying taxes. I mean,
Yeah.
where else in your life do you get to see that kind of transformation at the human level? So it gets me excited, and the fact that any part of my past or anything I have might help somebody along that way gets me excited.
Great. Recently, you were honored with one of our Holiday Open House Awards for Volunteer of the Year. How did that feel to receive that recognition, and just what does that mean to you?
Recognition is always nice. It
Yeah.
was honestly, for reasons I can't really, it's almost embarrassing. I feel like I
Yeah.
do so little
Yeah, you do so much.
versus what I think staff does here every day. I mean, when I think of dropping in for a couple hours a week and helping people out versus the long hours and the just heartbreaking stuff that they have to deal with, the personalities, that it's just it's a hard place to work.
Yeah.
I think it takes some really special people, and to me, that's where the recognition should go, the people that are carrying that mission with them all day, every day.
Well, that's very kind. I promise that you coming and teaching classes makes a huge impact. So, what types of topics, if you're able to share, do you focus on in your classes, and how do you choose them?
So I never choose the topics. I always let the participants choose the topics. Let's see, today we talked about physical injuries and how to navigate those in recovery. What else do we talk? We talked about missing kids' birthdays, ex-partners and spouses that are not being helpful to allow you to be part of the family and part of the kids. We talked about goal setting in recovery. We talked about physical trauma triggers. So we let people talk about the things that are most on their mind, and I always turn it back to the participants, see if anybody has experience with these topics and how they might navigate them.
Yeah.
To the extent there isn't anybody, we turn to the steps, and where in the steps do they teach us to navigate these things, and what does recovery look like?
Wow, I love that it's like kind of open. It's
Yeah.
not just like structured. I feel like they get a lot more out of that. How do you like tailor your teaching approach to meet like their diverse needs? Because everyone's so different and has a different experience.
I'm not. I can't say I proactively do that. I'm aware of it,
Yeah.
and it's important to me, and so I just on occasion tell them that I have a different background, and or lower age group than a lot of them, and if I say something that doesn't sound right or is tone deaf or anything along those lines, to please tell me.
Right.
Just trying to think through, especially early on as I first come in here, how would this sound to someone who might fit this profile?
Right.
And is there anything that I could say that would not sound inclusive to someone with a different life experience than I have?
Absolutely. Are there any memorable moments or stories from your time volunteering here with the participants that like stands out to you?
Oh, well, I'm not sure it's a volunteer.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be.
But no, well, I got married in the
Yeah.
garden at the women's, and so we had a silver chipper bake the wedding cake.
Wow.
We had a silver chipper come and DJ. The girls all decorated the place. Chef Kathy catered it for us. It was just a place that both my wife and we felt like embodied.
Yeah.
I don't know, the kind of love and atmosphere that we wanted, and I'll never forget it.
That's so awesome and amazing. Wow. How do you see healing transitions impacting like the broader community, and what role do you feel like volunteers play in that?
So to me, HT helps both on the homeless front and the recovery front, and I think people have shown now you can't separate the two. They tend to be tied pretty greatly together. I think to me the testament for any nonprofit organization is the community support. And when you look at the community support they get from restaurants and construction companies and landscape companies and individuals and banks and institutions and foundations, it tells you the quality of the people running it, the quality of the mission, and that the resources are getting to the people at the end of that mission. So that gets me to not only want to spend time here, but promote what they're doing, because that is very different than most nonprofits. I spent a lot of time in a CFO role and in various exec roles at nonprofits, and there's places where almost nothing actually gets to the end cause, and it's pretty sad.
Yeah, well, that's a great answer. Yeah. One of my last questions is, do you have any advice that you would give to someone, like a participant or someone you've met maybe, who is just beginning their journey of recovery?
Be a practitioner, not a student.
And what does that mean?
It's what you do, not what you know.
Okay.
As you might guess, the reason I answered that way is I thought it was a journey of self-knowledge and book knowledge, and if I could memorize the 12-step book, and if I could memorize all the slogans and bumper stickers and manage myself better, I would find a successful outcome. And it turns out none of those things are true.
Yeah.
It is all about what I do. And the first and biggest and hardest was asking for help and admitting defeat and doing all the work ahead of me, regardless of what I think or what I think I know.
Yeah.
And I don't know, everybody has to follow their own journey.
Yeah.
But I think if there's a checkpoint along there to look at what you're doing versus what you're learning or knowing.
Yeah, it's about the action. That makes sense. Well, is there anything else you would like to share before we wrap up?
Nothing comes to mind immediately other than, I appreciate the role Chris Budnick has played in just the last number of years, and now this terrific expansion. I mean, that has been a huge undertaking financially, but also organizationally and infrastructure-wise, and to provide more beds and more opportunities for more people in Wake County, I think is just terrific. And it's hard to find, at least in my circle, organizations and individuals that are doing more.
Yeah.
And I get excited about that.
So do we. Thank you for bringing that to light. Well, thanks for sharing and being willing to do this.
My pleasure.